It was just after midnight on July 3rd, 1988. A heavy fog pressed against the back roads of New Bedford, Massachusetts. A fisherman, driving home along Route 140, caught a glimpse of something in the brush. A shape, barely visible in his headlights. He pulled over, uneasy, and called the police. What officers found would change New Bedford forever. The decomposed body of a young woman, left alone and forgotten. Her name was Deborah Medeiros. She was 30 years old, missing for months, her family desperate for answers. Her wrists showed marks of restraint. Her clothes were torn, and her final moments were lost to the night. The killer was gone, leaving behind only questions, fear, and the certainty that he would strike again. As the fog thickened over New Bedford, so did the mystery. More women vanished, more bodies surfaced, and a community realized a serial killer may be among them. The press would call him the New Bedford Highway Killer. But to the families, he was something far worse. The faceless thief of daughters, sisters, and mothers. But what kind of person could do this? How did he choose his victims? And why, after all these years, does his name remain unknown? But this isn't where the story starts. This is where it ends. To understand how the New Bedford serial killer became a phantom, you have to rewind. Fast. New Bedford, Massachusetts, 1980s. Once a thriving whaling port, the city had fallen on hard times. Unemployment soared, and the streets were thick with drugs, poverty, and desperation. For many women, survival meant hitchhiking, sex work, or simply walking alone at night. The city's underbelly was a place where secrets thrived, and the vulnerable disappeared without a trace.
The New Bedford Highway killing case is one of the biggest investigations in Massachusetts history. More than 35 years later, we still don't know the serial killer's identity. But as the brother of one of the victims told me, people are still talking and tips are still flowing. Along the highways and off-ramps of the New Bedford area, a deadly secret is still tightly kept. It is along these lonely stretches of road that a serial killer plied his deadly trade in the late 1980s. 9 murdered women were recovered from this area. To this day, 2 remain missing. These are the dumping grounds of the New Bedford Highway Killer, a killer who to this day remains unmasked.
Among those who vanished was Robin Rhodes, a mother of 2, last seen in March 1988. Robin was just 29, with a quick laugh and a stubborn streak that her friends still remember. She'd grown up in New Bedford, knew its streets and its dangers, but life hadn't been easy. She was struggling with addiction, sometimes living on the edge, but she was fiercely loved by her family and determined to get back on her feet. The night she disappeared, Robin was seen leaving a friend's apartment, planning to walk home. She never made it. No witnesses, no clues, just a missing poster fluttering in the wind and a family left to wonder.
What does your gut tell you now? Is the person who committed the crime still alive?
30 years later, the Target 12 investigators re-examine this chilling case, speaking with families desperate for answers.
I'll never give up on her, never.
Over the next year, the pattern repeated. Mary Rose Santos, Nancy Paiva, Rochelle Dopirala, and others. Each woman's story was different, but their fate was the same. They trusted the wrong ride, or walked down the wrong street, and never came home. Yet, there were chilling commonalities. Most of the women were in their 20s or 30s. Many were mothers, and nearly all struggled with addiction or poverty. They moved in the same circles: downtown bars, shelters, and the city's rougher neighborhoods. Some knew each other, or at least knew the same faces. They were vulnerable, often hitchhiking or accepting rides from strangers, trying to survive in a city that had limited opportunities. The killer seemed to know exactly the patterns of these women and exactly how to make them disappear. The killer's method was as chilling as it was effective. Cruise the city's darkened streets, searching for women alone and desperate. He offered rides, a friendly face, maybe a promise of safety. But once inside his car, the women were trapped. Much of what we know about his approach comes from police reports, local news coverage, and the work of criminal profilers who studied the case in the years that followed. Investigators pieced together the killer's likely tactics by interviewing friends and family of the victims, as well as survivors who narrowly escaped similar encounters in New Bedford during that time. Police believe the killer used a combination of drugs and brute force to subdue his victims. Some of the women's bodies showed signs of restraint: bruises on the wrists or ankles, ligature marks, and, in several cases, evidence of sexual assault. According to autopsy reports and statements from the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, most of the victims died from strangulation, either with a ligature or by hand. In some cases, the cause of death was listed as undetermined, but the pattern of injuries suggested a violent struggle. The killer then drove his victims to remote locations, wooded clearings, highway shoulders, forgotten fields, places where their bodies might go unnoticed for months.